Hello my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with our latest budget brawl deck tech for you today. And for today's deck tech, we're going to be finishing off the last of our budget brawl mono-colored cycle deck. So we're finishing it off with Toski's Elves. So this deck is being led by Toski, Bearer of Secrets, and an Elf tribal deck. Now don't get me wrong, I did look at some of the other legendary elves that were available to us in mono green, but it's not that they were bad, it's more like they were probably better off for the 99. But again, the reason why we're not using them is we're trying to stick to the theme of each mono color with a super simple budget. And how much of a budget? Well, if you haven't seen the other deck techs, basically we're only utilizing one rare or mythic in each of them to show you that it is possible to put together a super cheap budget-friendly deck on Arena that you can play in Historic Brawl. So with that, let's now cover the commander himself, Toski, Bearer of Secrets. This 4-mana legendary squirrel 1/1 cannot be countered, and it's also indestructible. Toski, Bearer of Secrets attacks each combat if able. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. So this is perhaps the easiest build around, is just we're going to go with an all tribal deck. We want Toski basically to help support us by giving us as much card draw as possible since we are on a budget. And when I figured Elves basically has two major advantages versus any of the other possible ideas we could have run with in mono green. One, Elves has a ton of ramp on its own, and two, Elves is capable of building up a lot of tokens, which can then help us go wide and go big to get to victory. The game plan, of course, is to use our 1-drops such as Elvis Mystic, Land of War Elves, or just Spirit Sentinel. Basically, these mana dorks are just going to help us ramp out a little bit quicker. We do have some in the 2-drop slot. We have cards like Druid of the Cowl, for example. We have Paradise Druid to help us also maintain extra ramp when we need to. A couple of other small support creatures that can help us out will be like Taijiru Blightblade, for example. Ren runs Vanquisher. These ones have Death Touch to ensure that we can get through a little extra damage, or we can put these on the defensive and stop our opponent from attacking us directly. But otherwise, the main reason why I'm going to mention these is we'll have additional support for us in the sorceries and instants, which I'll talk about in just a second. As far as going into the 2-drop slot, we have a little mixture of, again, extra ramp, but we also have some cards that will help us draw cards, such as Elvis Visionary. We have some support in Mass Vandal, for example, which can help us get rid of an enchantment our opponent controls or an artifact. We have additional cards such as Pollen Bride Druid. We have a sub-theme of some +1/+1 counters, not too many in the deck, but it doesn't help to have this so we can either proliferate or put a counter on something that needs to get bigger. Other cards that can help us seek other cards such as Sky Shroud Lookout. We have another card that can provide us support such as Woodland Champion. One of our early token producers, Dwinian's Elite, it only provides just one extra Elf Warrior creature token, but that's not a bad thing because we have many other creatures that can do this, such as Elderleaf Mentor. We have other cards that can also provide +1/+1 counters such as Boreal Outrider. We have cards that can also proliferate such as Evolution Sage with Landfall. Same thing, speaking of Landfall, Tireless Provisioner gives us even more ramp with treasure tokens and food tokens to help us stabilize. Cards such as Liz Alana Huntmaster can also keep churning out more elves as long as we keep casting more elves, so it just snowballs. Kyrok Wrangler has Magecraft, so some of our instants and sorceries can allow us to put more counters on our creatures. So you basically get the idea here. Each of our elves builds off of each other. They synergize by either creating those tokens, putting +1/+1 counters, ramping us, digging for extra cards, so we can keep churning out more stuff and overwhelm our opponent. As far as those instants and sorceries that we want to use, we have some really solid ones such as Elfid Ambush on the 4-drop, which can help us create a ton of Elf Warrior creature tokens for each elf we control already out. We have some modal lands such as Vastwood Thicket, the Vastwood Fortification, same thing, counters, or we can bring it in as a land. We have some fog effects such as Commence the Festivities and Blinding Fog just to stop our opponent in case if they're going wider faster than us, maybe against, say, like, oh, I don't know, goblins or zombies. We have some general utilities such as Broken Wings. We have Kalani's Ambush. I forgot to mention this now that I brought this card up. We have a little bit of fight mechanics in this deck, which is helpful with our Touch creatures. As far as the sorceries are concerned, Blizzard Brawl also falls into that. Bushwhack. Gaia's Blessing basically can help us bring back and reutilize some of our cards that have gone down. You find the Cursed Idol, same thing, more utility. This is Triumph for more ramp. Bollock at recovery, more recovery or ramp if we need to. But in order to help us, because we are on a budget, we'll need to also look to some of our artifacts and enchantments that are going to help us do that. Sixth Sense can help us just draw some more cards. Rune of Might, same thing, draw cards, pump, and give trample. Song of Freyalise kind of uses more as like a pseudo finisher where we can pump up our entire team over the course of 3 turns, make them all mana dorks, and then just smash our opponent. Garrick's Uprising can same thing, draw some cards as long as we have a creature that's coming into the battlefield with at least power 4 or greater. But in order to pump up our creatures, we need cards such as Hydra's Growth. We have Presence of Gone to make more tokens. Heraldic Banner is a pseudo lord that can create for us a little bit more mana because it's also a mana rock. Herald's Horn can cheapen all of our creatures so that way we can cast them. Also helps us dig through our deck to make sure we keep getting more fuel to us. Rona's Monument, same thing, cheapens the cost of our green creatures, but also can give us pump whenever we cast a creature spell and give us also trample. And otherwise, the only other specific card I want to say is going to be our actual real finisher to the deck is Clothes Design. The 6 mana sorcery gives all of our creatures we control +X until end of turn, where X is our devotion to green. And as far as your land base, since we are on a budget, we're going to be using snow-covered forests. You kind of noticed already with our snow sorcery, snow creatures, we want to kind of lean into that ability and try to take advantage of it. Not to mention also, it's nice this kind of time of year because I thought that was a little on theme and flavor for us, so why not? Field of Ruin for land hate, Tranquil Thicket for cycling a land, Kalani Garden just helps us create another token. Same thing, chump blocks, but also provides again land. Gates of the Matterborn helps us seek a non-land card when we need to, even though we can only activate it once. Hayshop Oasis, same thing, pumps one thing that we can hopefully get through a last minute point of damage through. But otherwise, that's all I have for you in a nutshell. I don't really have much else to say except just, again, try to get Toski out as fast as possible, provide some support with some of our artifacts and enchantments, go wide with your tokens, start getting bigger stuff out when you start proliferating if you can get some +1/+1 counters on some of your more critical creatures, and then pressure your opponent once you have the advantage to either pump up your entire team with either one of our sorceries and just overwhelm your opponent to get to victory. But before we continue, if you like any of the content that I do, all I ask for you is please give a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the deck techs, booster pack openings, gameplay, and so much more. Oh, and after we're done with our matches, I'll have some final thoughts on our deck at the end of the video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and fire up the deck that we've just gone over and get started. Okay, everybody, so here we go. We are playing our Toski's Elves deck, and let's see what we got. We got 3 lands. We got Land of War Elves and Sparrows, so we have our ramp. Woodland Champion can go off if we make tokens, and a Blinding Fog to kind of protect us for a little while. All right, so I think we should be okay with this. Okay, so first off, Snow-Covered Forest, Land of War Elves, go. Drawbridge, okay. I'm going to try to pull off some kind of shenanigans here. Field of Ruin, Spirit Sentinel, Elven Druid. Okay, so we now have everything we ramped so we can get Toski out next turn. And hopefully that means we can start pulling off some of our fun shenanigans. Nothing. Okay. Opponents is not playing anything right now. Toski cannot be countered. This is nice for us. Woodland Champion. Alright. And we have a decent board state. Opponent's digging for some answers. If we can get down the Impervious Perfect, then we can start doing some more fun stuff here. What do they toss out? Ooh, Leviathan. Okay. Sea Monster deck. That's kind of cool. I don't see that too often, so it's kind of neat to see. I'm always down to see some of the lesser used commander options out there. They're ramping pretty quick here, so we definitely need to get some cards drawn fast. If we do not, we may be in trouble. Okay. Alright. Well, let's see. How do we do this? Okay, Impervious Perfect. Our elves now get a boost. And... oh, okay. Our opponent kind of gave up. Well, that was unfortunate. I was ready to go off there. Okay, everybody, here we go. We're going to be playing, once again, our Toski's Elves deck. And actually, I realized, wait, why are... this is totally fair. Companions were a mistake, everybody. All right, in any case, back to the game. Okay, so we have what we need to build up stuff. So we're going to keep this, and hopefully we'll get Toski out pretty quick, like we normally try to do. All right, so Kalani Territory out first. Tapped. All right, we got another forest. That's good. We will bring out our Druid of the Cowl. So this means next turn we can bring out Toski and start doing our fun shenanigans. Toski already out, so we can hopefully start drawing cards. We want to try to draw cards as fast as we can because once our opponent starts doing their shenanigans, then we may have some issues. Oasis. see. Alright. Guardian. Red counter on Toski. It's elite. The elf. Alright. With 2 of our creatures, we draw 2 cards. Okay. So this keeps our hand full. Ooh, Ronos Monument. Those okay. Now we're in a decent spot here. There's Sliver. Okay, here comes the Cascade. Please whiff. Migration Path. Okay. Alright, how do we do this? Alright, Snow Covered Monument. Ronos Monument. Renegade. Let's pump. What do we pump? What do we pump? Pump our token. Ram through. This is why. Ram through. Get rid of the first sliver. That gets rid of it. Yes. Love that. The sneaky tech there. Go attacking with 4 creatures. Not too bad. We get draw 4 cards. Keep our hand nice and full. Very nice. All right, see? There you go, everybody. Get your early ramp in. That's what you want to do with this deck. And then just get your cheap elves and just get Toski out by turn 3. Hopefully your opponent has not had a chance to stabilize yet, and we just start swinging like crazy. We have a Bushwhack too, so even if they try to bring in their first sliver again, our Narham Renegade. Wait, did I say that right? Narnam Renegade. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. Our opponent just conceded. Okay, everybody, so here we go. We have our Toski's Elves deck, and right now we don't really have much of anything, but if we have enough ramp right here with our Elves, we can get Toski out and hopefully draw into some action. So let's keep what we have, and we'll bring out our Elvish Mystic first. Okay, so let's see. Our game plan here, nothing too crazy. Let's see what our opponent plays. It's going to be a little while before they get to their slivers, so that does buy us some time, but we don't want to wait too long. Down Paradise Druid. Attacking with our Mystic. Down to 24. Opponent. Explore. So they're trying to ramp too. Watery Grave. Alright. Alright, that's not too bad. Toski immediately coming out. Swing with Paradise Druid. Get a card. Alright. Alright, we're going to hopefully draw into some action now. If they're playing slivers, I don't know how much in terms of wraths or stopping they may have, but we're going to have to see. Herald's Horn. Okay. Okay, Ronos Monument. That's actually pretty nice. Okay. That cheapens our creatures. So that means Gwydion's Elite. That gives us some pump. Put it on Toski. There we go. Make another elf. Let's put out Destiny Spinner. Pump up Paradise Druid. Alright, go swinging. Alright, good damage. Not too shabby. We're getting pretty close here. Draw 2 cards. Not bad. Okay, opponent. I mean, Herald's Horn's going to give them a little bit of card advantage, but we're going to start drawing into a ton of stuff soon. And we have an Elvish Ambush, so I think we're right where we want to be right now. Slivers is powerful, but let's see. They're going to Cascade now, so let's see if our opponent can go off here. Pillars of Origin. Right. Opponent, do you have anything else? Here comes that Diffusion Sliver. Cascading all the way out. An Inquisition. Annoying, but not the end of the world for us. They can't snipe the Elven Ambush, which is awesome. Alright. Okay, opponent. Let's see. So how do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? I think, let's see, we will destroy an artifact. What do we get rid of? We already have enough mana to cast what they want, so Herald's Horn goes bye-bye. We'll wait on the Elven Ambush. We're going to attack a little bit with some of our cheaper options here. We'll get at least 1 card out of this, if nothing else. Alright, Ambush. Tokens. Nothing crazy, but again, that helps us out. Okay, we'll wait on the Sentinel here, because we want to get that little bit of pump and trample ability for one of our other creatures, so we can try to force through a little bit more damage. Alright, opponents, they're going to Cascade again. Predatory Sliver gives them all a little bit of a pump. Selfless Savior, interesting. Not a sliver, but it does protect what they're trying to do. To the north, getting a Snowland. Their mana is all over the place here, so that's interesting. Do you have anything else for us? Yes? No? Alright, cracking the Fable Passage. Snow-covered island. The Hive Stirrings to make some more silver tokens. Interesting. Okay, so let's see. Well, Despair Sentinel can't be countered, and we can pump something. What do we pump though? Put it on the Destiny Spinner. Put 4/5. We're gonna use Gaia's Blessing on ourselves. Bring these 3 cards back into our deck. Draw. We're mostly doing this just for the card draw. Hopefully we can draw into a creature. Let's see. I think... Okay. We have to attack with Toski. So if we survive the next turn, we're more or less where we want to be. Pass the turn. So here's the game plan right now. Klothys' design right now should help us close out this game. Urgent Ultimatum. Ew. Okay. I was not expecting this, but we gotta survive this hit right here. Okay, so here we go. So, oh boy. Let's see. Alright, well, let's look at their graveyard. Let's see, Haunting Voyage just brings back their creatures. I'm not worried about that. Spark Double. Put back the Bone Scythe. Alright. So that means they will be able to bring something back and Spark Double. Not too bad. Haunting Voyage resolves. They choose Sliver, obviously. And Spark Double. So that means they get 2 copies. They get 2 copies right now of the first Sliver. They have the main one and actually the single copy. But that doesn't really do anything for us. I'm not worried about that. Okay. I think we might be in a good spot. Well, here we go. Klothys design, everybody. Creatures we control get +X until end of turn. We're X for Devotion. And everything is now a 7/7 or 8/8. I think we've got this one now. Yes! Our cheap elves got there. Not too bad for a budget brawl deck, everyone. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you like that. And there you have it, everybody. That was Toski's Elves for you. So my final thoughts before we finish this video is the deck actually performs decently well. Actually, a lot more than I thought. But don't get me wrong. Green was probably the hardest color for me to try to stick to on a budget because, let's be real, compared to, say, oh, I don't know, blue or black, where they have a lot of either counterspell options or easy, cheap removal, green has to completely rely on creatures. And if, thankfully, in the matches we had, we didn't get blown out, but don't be surprised, again, if you do want to play this against more wrath-heavy decks, where if they get blown out, you're going to struggle for a little bit. So keep that in mind if you do want to play it. However, if you are a fan of tribal decks such as Elves, if you do like Toski, if you just like drawing cards on a budget, give this deck a try, and I'm sure you will not be disappointed. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, everyone. And just remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later!